Welcome back to another Pokemon Throwback Thursday, where every Thursday morning we take a deep dive into a new set. We're going in complete order, so the set we're checking out today is Sun and Moon Celestial Storm. And then, of course, we're going to be highlighting a certain Pokemon, and we're going to be checking their best cards in Pokemon history. And we're going to also look for some cards that I think people are sleeping on. And for today's video, that is going to be Snorlax. And we are going to do a giveaway today. All you have to do is make sure you subscribe. You have to hit that notification bell. You have to hit that like. Then you have to answer the question of the day. This is what we're giving away. This is a Shadowless Arcanine. If you guys did not know, I don't know if you can see it, but back in the day, this card actually says Arcanine was a legendary Pokemon. But for today's question, if we could give Arcanine a third evolution, what would you call it? And I do have to announce the winner from last week's giveaway, and that is that Bear Bottom Branton. So to shoot me an email or hit me up on Instagram, I'll get those cards sent out to you. And we do have to give a big thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is Punch Out Gaming. This is the local game store that I go to in Minnesota, and it's honestly the best game store in all of Minnesota. Nobody can beat the variety. And they're only located 30 minutes north of the Twin Cities. And this is a shop to where every single time a new set comes out, these guys sell it for MSRP that entire day until they're completely sold out. So definitely check them out. I'll have all the links. Then, of course, if you're going to grade through PSA for your very first time, you can click my link, use the code BEARD25 to receive $25 off your very first submission, which is basically a free graded card. All right, let's get into it. We have Celestial Storm. This set came out August 2nd, 2018. This is the set symbol right here. Looks like a Pokeball with kind of like a star on it. Total set value is 1,732. There's a total of 320 cards, with 15 of them being secret rares. So the big boy is going to be obviously the Rainbow Rayquaza GX, says raw 228, followed by the Licia Full Art Trainer. Very nice looking trainer. I like the colors on that one. Raw 228. Ignore this Mudkip Reverse Holo. I don't know why it says $118. You can find it for like $5 or $10 on eBay and stuff. Next, we got the Rayquaza GX Full Art. Kind of a cool full art, kind of a weird green in the background. It says raw $80. Followed by the Rainbow Blaziken GX at $67. Rainbow Articuno GX at $58. TV Reporter at $53. This set does have some very, very nice trainers that are worth a decent amount of money. I really like the Copycat here and the Underground Expedition. I really like this art style. But it does also have a Banette Rainbow. And then, yeah, the Scissor GX Rainbow. Honestly, a pretty good set, especially compared to everything that we've gotten so far in the Sun and Moon era. But of course, we have not gotten to the tag team alternate arts. So here is the full art Stevens Resolve. Pokedata did an update now where they moved the pop history down to here, and it's now like this graph. So I don't like that at all. I just messaged him about it. But last sold raw for this card, 40, 60, 45. And last sold in a PSA 10, 132. And it has a pop of 163 in a 10, I guess, and 119 in a 9. Next, we have the Scizor GX. This is, anywhere from a $40 to about $60 raw card. We got a PSA 10 sale at $330 and PSA 9 at $100. Pop history, these are all going to be pretty low. So it says 152 in a 10, 112 in a 9. They're all going to be very similar for this set. Next, we have the Full Art TV Reporter. That sold raw 43, 73, 58. And then we got a PSA 10 at $199. Next, we have the Rainbow Articuno GX. Last sold in a 10, $190. And then raw, it's going to be about $60 to get it clean. Next, we have the Rainbow Blaziken. I really like his stance in this card. It just looks super mean. And by the way, these rainbows really, really pop. I mean, this picture does not do justice, but the texture's crazy on the GX rainbows. Last sold raw 70, 60, 55, and we got a PSA 10 at 345 and 350. Next, we have the Full Art Licia, one of the most expensive cards in the set. Last sold raw 275. We got a 125, 185, PSA 10 at 580, and another 10 at 600. This has a pop of 856 in a 10, 711 in a 9. Obviously, the Full Art trainers are going to have higher pops than the rainbows. Next, we have the Full Art Rayquaza. Last sold raw 79, 83, 90, PSA 10 for $515. And the pop history, there is about 500 PSA 10s, 395 9s. But I don't know why they thought this would be easier than just seeing the numbers here, but I want these numbers back. Next, we have the Rainbow Rayquaza. And as you can see, the pop's going to be a little bit lower, 524 and a 10. And the 9 looks like it's right around the same, 515 or whatever. But last sold raw, 230, 245, a couple low ones at 125, PSA 10 at 720, and then we got a PSA 9 at 154 and 260. Next, we have the Celestial Storm Booster Pack. So last sold for this, we got 56, 55, and 50. 3 months ago, it was $43. Next, we have the Celestial Storm ETB. Honestly, this could be the best looking ETB in Pokemon history. Let me know down below what you guys think. The green is crazy. I mean, the thing just pops. And this thing is very, very expensive. It was $1,000 3 months ago. There's like no sales on TCG Player, but last sold $1,750, and before that was $2K. Next, we have the Celestial Storm Booster Box. Last sold for this $2,700, and that was a couple months ago on TCG Player. All right, hopping to Snorlax here. So here is a bunch of the cheaper cards. We'll kind of go through them so we can appreciate some of these arts. So we got the one from 151. Not a bad looking card. Journey Together. Hop Snorlax is pretty good looking. Let's see. I really like this Crown Zenith one. When it's like that crocheted art. I don't know why. I'm not super obsessed with it, but I think it looks pretty unique. Really like the Sword and Shield Snorlax. I think this background is beautiful. Same with this Rebel Clash one. We do have our basic EX from Prismatic Evolutions. We got our Pokemon Go Snorlax. Really like this Vivid Voltage one of him just sleeping like a little baby. What else do we got? Not too bad. A couple nice ones for sure. I think he does have a basic V also right here from the Sword and Shield. So nothing super crazy, but a couple nice arts. All right, we're going to go from newest to oldest. So here is the Snorlax ETB promo from 151. This was $267 in a 10, and now last sold 159, 160. And the pop history for this, 14,825 in a 9, 9,679 in a 10. So it is actually pretty tough to grade, but there's still a decent amount of them. And raw last sold 14, 16, 20, looks like at most. We got one sale 25. So honestly, a lot cheaper than it was. And I could see this card being very, very expensive one day, especially, I mean, just imagine when that 151 ETB is literally like, you know, $600, $700, $800. Because right now, I mean, the ETB is not even really that old, and it's already super, super expensive. And of course, here is the Pokemon Center Stamp Snorlax. It's got up to 1,750 in a 10. Now last sold 900, 950. So that is just a crazy drop. And the pop history, we got 3,211 in a 9 and 1,556 in a 10. This is one of the main reasons why Pokemon Center Stamp promos are going to be worth a lot of money in the future, and I have a feeling they're going to outperform like 99% of all modern cards. But when it got up to $1,700, it just went up too fast. So that's why I really like to never buy stuff when we're at our all-time hype. I'll wait to when I know I can get it for half the price as it was before. And then even raw, it went down a decent amount. Last sold 160. We got a high one at 299 that says sealed. And then we got another one at 225, 199, and 180. I've seen one low one down there at 143. Next, we have the Hops Snorlax. This is the staff card. I feel like a lot of people do not know about staff cards. And these are also basically some of the rarest cards we get in all of Pokemon. They got a nice Journey Together stamp. Just wish they were like illustration rares. And this is on TCG Player. There's like no data of this card in a 10. But last sold 84, 85, 115, and 131 were the sales before that. Next, we have the Lost Origins Snorlax Trainer Gallery card. This got up to 283 in a 10, down to 180. Looks like it's up a couple dollars now. Last sold 200. And then raw, 16, 12, 11. Yeah, this is actually one of my all-time favorite Snorlax cards. And if you guys did not know, Trainer Gallery cards are extremely tough to grade. This has 3,100 in a 9 and 1,600 in a 10. Next, we have the Baby Shiny Snorlax. This also has a somewhat low pop, not super, super tough to grade. They're both at about 1,000 for a 10 and a 9. And raw, 25, 20, 26, PSA 9 at 35. We have a 10 at $170. Next, we have another staff card. This is the Vivid Voltage Snorlax staff card. Very expensive. Last sold 250 and 190. We got a couple lightly plays at 140. Again, not really a ton of PSA 10 info on these cards. Next, we have just a full art V Snorlax from Sword and Shield. That sold raw 12, 10, PSA 10 at 76. Might as well check the pop history on this one. 1,000 in the 10, 434 in a 9. Just not a lot of them graded. Next, we have the Snorlax Vmax, and I honestly think Snorlax has the best Vmax. You know, a lot of them, they just made the Pokemon bigger, but they did a lot of stuff with Snorlax. So the pop is, this has 5,500 in a 10 and 1,747 in a 9. Raw, 40, 35, 20, 50. We got a PSA 10 at $279. Next, we have the Rainbow Snorlax Vmax, same exact art, just the rainbow version. Last sold raw, 35, 46, 55. PSA 10 at 172 and a 9 at 100. The last sales before that 10 were $225. And pop, this has about 3,700 in a 10 and 742 in a 9. Next, we have the Gold Snorlax, which is actually the most expensive gold card in the Sword and Shield era, besides Crown Zenith, of course. But this is just a regular full art. The Crown Zenith cards, they're like alternate art gold cards. So this card is pretty special. Got up to $238 in a 10. Now last sold $230, $215, $160. Then raw, it's pretty expensive, $80, $75, $110. We got a PSA 9 at $120. The pop on this, there's 5,600 in a 10 and 1,800 in a 9. Next, we have the Rainbow Eevee and Snorlax GX Tag Team card. This has a pop of 551 in a 10, 441 in a 9. That sold raw 140, 220, 150, 198. PSA 9 at 215, and we got a 10 at 720, and the 10 before that was at $595. Next, we have the full art, same exact art, but not rainbow. Last sold raw 120, 90, 200. We got a PSA 9 at 225, and we got a 10 at 390 and 400. This has a pop of 871 in a 10, 411 in a 9. Next, we have the Tag Team Eevee and Snorlax. This is the non-textured alternate art. Last sold raw 90, 30, 65. PSA 10 at $290. And we do have a new eBay one at $325. And the pop on this card is 1,040 in a 9, 977 in a 10. So not a ton of those out there. Next, we have the actual textured Eevee and Snorlax GX Tag Team. This is definitely one of the most unique Snorlax cards we've ever gotten, or one of the most unique Pokemon cards we've ever gotten. The art style is absolutely crazy. So check the pop on this one. It's got 3,700 in a 10 and about 3,700 in a 9. Last sold in a 10, 620. We got a sale before that of 500. Then raw, 150 for near mint, 115. We got a PSA 9 at $96. Next, we have the Snorlax GX Sun and Moon promo. Last sold in a 10, $380. We got a 9 at 51. And then honestly, this is about a $10 to $15 card. And there is 375 9s and only 186 10s. So it's actually really, really tough to grade. It is a promo, of course. Next, this is literally just a holo from Unbroken Bonds. Now, these are the reasons why it pays to watch, my Throwback Thursdays and stuff, so you guys can learn about cards. This, to 99% of the hobby, if they're just looking through some bulk, this would just be bulk. Look at how much this card sells for. Raw, $60, $30, $44, $30, $50, $28, $45. We got a PSA 9 at $100, and last sold in a PSA 10 on eBay is $150. But still, very, very expensive card. I mean, just for literally a holo rare. And I also think there is a reverse holo of this card too. Next, we have the Level X Snorlax from Rising Rivals. Very cool card. Last sold raw 180, 299, 222, 366. I mean, even this heavily played one sold for $250. This is actually one of the most expensive Level X cards. We got a PSA 9 at $1,200 and $1,288. And the most recent sale was $1,800 in a 10. This card does not sell very often at all. We don't even really have the pop for the PSA 10 on here. It's only 113 9s though. Next, we have the Plasma Storm Black and White. This is the reverse holo plasma card. It's got the nice stamp on there. Last sold raw 75, 100. We got a PSA 9 at $500. And absolutely no recent PSA 10 sales. It's actually kind of crazy. There's a lot of, mid-era and older Snorlax cards where there's just no info in the PSA 10 just because they're so rare. Next, we have another staff card, Call of Legends Snorlax. Actually, one of the coolest Snorlax arts, in my opinion, for, just a half art card. but you can buy it right now for $999 on TCG Player. Last sold is $700 and a lightly played at $650. Yet again, couldn't really find any PSA 10 info on this card. Next, another card that I could not really find a ton of info on, the Build and Bear Workshop card. Beautiful card, pretty nice collab, especially the Build and Bear with Snorlax. I think just works super, super good. Last sold raw, 175, 125, 280, 190, 200. We got a PSA 9 at 169. It does say the most recent on eBay is $525, but it's kind of an old sale. Next, we have the Fire Red and Leaf Green Snorlax Reverse Holo. This card also does come in holo. Don't really have any pop report info on this one in a 10. We do have the 9 info at 107, but last sold in a 10, 716, 1100, 800, and then before that was 500, and then 65, 55, and 75 for PSA 9. Next, this is honestly one of my all-time favorite cards on this list, and this is actually one of my all-time favorite Delta Species Reverse Holos. I love that it's just green. It just looks so cool with Snorlax. Like, this is definitely top 3 on this list for me for sure. Last sold raw 160, 70, 55. We got a PSA 10 at 1,000, and we got a PSA 9 at $800. That is a pretty old PSA 10 sale, so I'm sure a new one would go for a little bit more than that. Next, another one of my all-time favorites, and as you guys know, every card from EX Team Rocket Returns is very, very, very expensive. Last sold raw 420, 406, 380, 546. We have a PSA 10 sale at $13,000, which is absolutely crazy. And this card has an insanely low pop. So we got a PSA 9 pop at 285 and a 10 at 109. Next, we have the Skyridge Snorlax Reverse Holo. I really enjoy this art also. I like the mountains in the background. This one definitely feels super old school. And it's from Skyridge, also a set where every single card from Skyridge is very expensive. Last sold raw 228, 325, 215, 300. Looks like we got a PSA 9 at 365 and 375. And the most recent PSA 10 sale I could find was for $1,725. Next, we have the first edition Rocket Snorlax. This is a non-holo rare, and I love how realistic looking this art style is, which is definitely one of my all-time favorites. You know, I don't really love when it's super, super cartoony. I love when it's just realistic and clean, and it just looks like he had a super, super fun night. And this card also does come in unlimited. Last sold raw 67, 50, 80, and $100. We got a PSA 9 at 210 and 199. And we do have a recent PSA 10 sale here at $3,000. It just went crazy because 2 months before that, it sold for $685. This is another reason why it pays to watch my Throwback Thursdays and stuff. This card outperformed every modern card. And it's literally just a non-holo rare, but the pop is crazy low. There's 326 in a 9 and 79 in a 10. That's why it does pay to go look at a ton of, really good looking cards. They might not be the best cards in the set, but they're a pretty popular Pokemon. And if they have crazy low grades like that, and the PSA 10 isn't that expensive, I mean, there's a very good chance that card will keep going in the future. Next, we have, this is the OG Jungle artwork, but this is the Legendary Collection Reverse Holo. Last sold in a 10, $15,500. We got a PSA 9 at 1875, and then raw 308. We got one at 715 now. That is crazy. Another one at 599, 600. This card used to be like $50. I swear to God. I used to buy these Legendary Collection Reverse Holos for so cheap. And this card does have a crazy little pop. I think it's below 50 in a 10. Next, we have the actual Jungle Snorlax card. This is the Unlimited Holo. There's a first edition. And just because this is unlimited does not mean it's not worth a ton in a PSA 10, because they have crazy, crazy low pops. It's only a 39 in a 10, 766 in a 9. And the most recent sale in a 10 is 5,212, which was literally a couple weeks ago. The sale before that was 6,100, and then before that, it was 2,400. And then raw, we got 50, 60, 95, and a PSA 9 at $390. Next, we have the first edition Holo Jungle Snorlax. Last sold raw 235, 137. We got a PSA 9 at 1,900, another one at 2,200. We got another raw here at 180, 299, 415. So yeah, very expensive if you want this thing super, super minty because it sells for a ton in a PSA 10. Last sold, which was about 4 months ago, $24,000. And it sold a year before that at $7,600. This card does not come up very often at all. Does not also have any pop report history on Pokédata. Next, we have the Snorlax Wizards of the Coast promo, and people wonder why it was Snorlax and Eevee for all the tag team cards. It's because, look, we got a Snorlax and Eevee card from way back in the day for one of these old school promos. I even use this Sleeping Snorlax for my Sleeper Sunday videos. He's actually on my thumbnails. You can barely see him. He's kind of down at the corner, but he is there. So I just love this card, and I loved how they continued the Eevee and Snorlax cards for the tag teams. Another reasons why I felt like those tag teams are still pretty undervalued compared to some of the others. And this card recently went crazy. It used to be super cheap. Now last sold raw, $195, $245, $187, $110. We got a PSA 9 at $255. And then we got a PSA 10 sale here at $1,500. And then $2K before that. Let's see if we have any pop report history for this card in a 10. So PSA 10 pop at $292. And for 9s, it is at $893. So very, very tough to grade. Very, very rare card. I never see this card in a 10. All right, that is it for the English cards. Next, we have a couple Japanese exclusives. So here is the Hungry Snorlax. This is a CD promo. Last sold raw, 62, 122, 127. And we have a PSA 10 sale, which was literally 5 days ago at $899. So very, very cool card. And the last Snorlax card on the list is the Vending Series 1 Snorlax. Look at that art. Now that is some super realistic art, but I actually really, really enjoy this art. It's just so unique. You just never see that in any of these cards like that. So it's just super, super cool. Another art that we did not get in English. And they also do have a card-ass card here where Gengar is eating Snorlax's dream, which is super, super cool. A PSA 8 just sold for $299. So I figured I'd throw that in there also. And last on the list, this is my favorite Snorlax product, and that is the Tag Team tin with Eevee and Snorlax. Now, there is a bad thing about these tins. It does say packs vary per tin. There is a version of this tin that has actual team-up packs in them, and that tin goes for a lot more money. That's why I like the tins, kind of like Crown Zenith. When we know exactly what is in the tin, you never have to worry about reprints and how to figure out which one is which and stuff. We always know those tins are just going to be full of Crown Zenith, which is why I have 2 sealed cases of those Crown Zenith tins and a bunch of loose ones because I was just obsessed. But all right, that was today's Pokemon Throwback Thursday, and I just wanted to let you guys know I will be vending this Sunday at Canterbury in Minnesota. It's my first time vending in Minnesota in quite a few months, so I am very, very excited. I even have another life-size statue coming. I'm not 100% sure if it will be here in time, but it says it will, but you never know, especially with some of these bigger boxes. Sometimes they get delayed a few days. So if you guys are coming, I should definitely have a new life-size statue for you guys to see because I'm definitely bringing it with. But all right, if you guys like this content and you guys want to stay ahead of the market and actually know about a bunch of cards that 95% of this hobby does not know about, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like and comment. And if you guys want to support more, you guys can check out my Instagram, my TikTok, my Facebook, YouTube membership, PSA link. You guys know what to do. You guys are the absolute best. But all right, I want you guys to have a great day. And if you guys want to watch my last Pokemon What If Wednesday, which was honestly probably one of my better What If Wednesdays that I've ever had. I just really liked all the questions. I felt like my answers were super, super good. Definitely click this video here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.